Palawan is not hailed as #1 island in the world for 3 consecutive years for nothing. Aside from white sand beaches, islets, and lagoons, Puerto Princesa is also a home for majestic waterfalls. One of the breathtaking waterfalls we can showcase to the world is the Ulanguan Falls, located at kilometer 72, Barangay Binduyan, Puerto Princesa City. This is not your ordinary waterfalls. You will enjoy the adventure of trekking the slopes, including 7 small rivers, before you can witness these absolutely stunning features of Mother Nature that will truly make your Palawan experience worthwhile.
Good day, Puerto Princesa! Aren't you curious as well about the science behind what really happens to our body with our favorite thing to do? Eating! Well, I am. So today, we will be exploring the process of cellular respiration to satisfy all our curiosity. Hello, Grade 9 Dream Learners! Join me as we discover and be amazed by the world of science. I am your teacher, Noemi, and today, we are going to explore the wonder of things happening around us. Welcome to Puerto Princesa Dream TV, your digital classroom as you walk through the lessons in Grade 9 Science. So sit back, get ready with your pen and paper, and enjoy the journey of learning. At the end of this video lesson, we will be able to relate the understanding of the concept of ATP to a simple analogy, infer why mitochondrion is known as the powerhouse of the cells, realize the importance of exercising as essential human activity. In the previous lesson, we have learned that the sunlight is one of the most important components of photosynthesis to produce food for both plants, animals, and some organisms. As we go along the way in discussing cellular respiration, we will be able to understand how the energy from sunlight used the photosynthetic process supports the energy cycle on Earth. Let's take a look at the chemical formula below to simplify the complex process and do better elaborate the topic. The chemical equation of the photosynthetic process simply says that carbon dioxide and water are needed so plants and other organisms can produce food, glucose, and oxygen through the complex process of synthesizing the light from the sun. Hence, the name of photosynthesis, which is derived from the Greek word photo, means light, and synthesis means to put together. To sum it all up, plants combine with carbon dioxide and water with the help of the energy from the sunlight to produce glucose and oxygen. Glucose from plants is in a form of starch and fruits, root crops, and other plant food products. Directions. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Question 1. What process does glucose molecule undergo reduction to its pyruvate component? A. Citric acid cycle. B. Digestion. C. Electron transport chain. D. Glycolysis. Question 2. How many ATP is produced during the Krebs or citric acid cycle? A. 1 ATP, B. 2 ATPs, C. 5 ATPs, D. 10 ATPs. Question 3. What kind of energy does ATP possess? A. Chemical energy, B. Geothermal energy, C. Light energy, D. Mechanical energy. Question 4. What enzyme is responsible for the transport of electron from protein complexes in the electron transport chain? A. Amylase, B. CoA, C. CoQ, D. Synthase. Question 5. Which of the following molecules carry high-energy electron during the cellular respiration process? A. Acetyl, B. NADH, C. Oxalate, D. Pyruvate. Check your answers on the screen. 1. D, 2. B, 3. A, 4. C, 5. B. Did you answer the questions correctly? If yes, you're awesome. If not, that's fine, because as we go along with our lesson, we will learn and understand more about this topic. In order to keep living, our body needs to sustain energy. The question, why do we eat, is simply answered to have energy to do work. Have you ever asked yourselves, how does food provide the energy we need to get through the day? To answer that, we just basically have to eat and breathe. This process is explained in the concept of cellular respiration. Cellular respiration. In the photosynthetic process, the end goal is to collect all those converted chemical energy known as adenosine triphosphate or ATP and embed it all inside the glucose molecule, a carbohydrate. It is a molecule plants and animals intake in order to have a capacity to live through that energy ATP that is being chemically converted from the light of the sun. In contrary, we consume it in order to harness all these energies, and that is through the process called cellular respiration. Let's take a look at the chemical formula for cellular respiration to be able to prove that. Isn't it just the reverse of photosynthetic process? Very simple, right? Plants harvest energy from the sun through the chloroplast and break down the water molecules to produce oxygen and combine it with carbon dioxide to produce glucose. To harvest all the ATP molecules that bears all the energy the human body needs, the glucose molecule has to undergo 3 complex processes inside our system, namely glycolysis, citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. Animals, including humans, process the glucose molecule by breaking it down into pieces through digestion to unleash the main molecule to be absorbed in every cell of our body and unwrap everything to harvest all the energy it all has for the body to function. There are three significant processes that happens inside the cell, namely glycolysis, Krebs, citric acid cycle, and the electron transport chain. Inside the cell, glycolysis happens in the cytoplasm of the cell, while the rest of the processes take place inside the mitochondria. The Krebs cycle, or citric acid cycle, happens in the matrix of the mitochondria, while the electron transport chain is in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Glycolysis. After removing all the unnecessary substances from the food inside the stomach, the carbohydrate molecule is then absorbed through the walls of the intestine to be transported through the bloodstream to the cell tissues in our body. The word glycolysis comes from the word glyco, meaning sugar, and the lysis meaning to break. So, glycolysis simply means breaking down the glucose molecule, which takes place in the cytoplasm. Let's take a look at the diagram for us to easily understand this important process. First, the 6-carbon molecule glucose enters the cytoplasm of the cell. Second, the glucose molecule undergoes catalysis and the series of reduction by addition of enzymes and molecules, producing one molecule of ATP and two NADH. Third, final reduced molecule during the process are two molecules of a 3-carbon molecule pyruvate. Fourth, oxidation of pyruvate. One carbon from the pyruvate molecule detached from the chain through oxidation, forming one molecule of carbon dioxide and one ATP, giving the reduced sugar into a 2-carbon molecule acetyl. And lastly, acetyl then enters the Krebs cycle. NADH molecules are highly electron carriers. This will be utilized by the end phase of cellular respiration. The total ATPs produced in this step is still not enough energy extracted from the sugar molecule. There's more to it, so it has to undergo another process. Citric acid Krebs cycle. The citric acid, or the Krebs cycle, is the next phase of cellular respiration. This very important phase occurs inside the matrix of the mitochondrion. See diagram and the process. At the last part of glycolysis, acetyl molecule was formed. An enzyme CoA catalyzes the molecule, which gave the avenue for the sugar to enter the mitochondria, the matrix to be specific. In this part of the cell, the reduced molecules of glucose then undergo series of catalysis. Enzymes are protein molecules that help in the process, forming a 6-carbon molecule. The citric acid then undergoes series of reductions. It takes one cycle for every carbon from the molecule, which means that the cycle has to run 6 times to produce one glucose molecule. Electron transport chain. The electron transport chain, just like the two previous processes, is also very complicated. This phase happens to be one of the most iconic stages of the synthesizing sugar, the harvesting phase. Yes, you heard it right. In this phase, majority of the ATPs are unleashed. It's harvest time! The last phase of the cellular respiration is the electron transport chain. In this phase, all of the high-energy carrier molecules, NADH and FADH2, will pass through a chain of protein complexes in the inner mitochondrial membrane. As mentioned above, this membrane is semi-permeable. It serves as a filter, allowing only certain molecules to pass through. 1. There is a high concentration of protons in the intermembrane space than in the matrix. 2. Protein complex 1 utilizes NADH to pump protons. NADH is a high-energy electron carrier. 2 electrons are being passed through a coenzyme Q to protein complex 3. Third, protein complex 2 does not pump proton. However, utilizes high-energy electron carrier, FADH2, and pass electrons to coenzyme Q to protein complex 3. Fourth, protein complex 3 receives the high-energy electrons from coenzyme Q, allowing protons to be pumped to the intermembrane space, making the flow of protons to increase. Some of the electrons are passed to protein complex 4. Fifth, oxygen is the final recipient of high-energy electrons. In the electron transport chain, specifically located in the protein complex 4. This allows several reactions to occur, including the conversion of oxygen to water. Sixth, the protein complex contains a large protein molecule known as the ATP synthase. The oxygen that we breathe serves as the final receptors of electrons in the electron transport chain. With the absence of oxygen, the reaction would stop, which will halt the flow of electrons in the intermembrane space, thus causing the ATP synthase to stop rotating as well. The ATP synthase acts as a turbine. Seventh, the flow of protons in the intermembrane allows the rotation of the synthase from one side to the other, allowing the conversion of the chemical energy that spins the protein turbine to ATP. A total of 32 ATPs is produced during the electron transport chain. Indeed, the mitochondrion is the powerhouse of the cell, where majority of the energy from the glucose molecules are harvested, providing the cells the energy requirement to perform their respective duty in the body.
Scenario: you just got paid from the job you recently got in, and your pay comes in as a check. Now you are so hungry and don't have any single penny in your pocket. Can you use the check to pay for the food to eat in a carinderia? How about at a fast food chain? In a restaurant? No, right? Where would you go to cash in the paycheck? Definitely, you go to a bank to cash it in. Cashier's check or bank checks are released by the banks for security reasons. Usually, checks are used for a bigger amount of money. Banks are the only institution who has the authority to cash it in. It is as valuable like cash, just that it has to be cashed in to get the right currency all of the establishments accept. Just like bank checks, glucose or carbohydrates are macromolecules or large molecules that cannot be directly processed by the body. It is still valuable, just like checks, but it needs to be broken down to get the energy currency that the body needs. Cashier's checks or bank checks have expiration dates. If you are not able to cash it in the bank, or if the account source is empty, it will be of no value. Carbohydrates, on the other hand, if it is not processed by the cells, it will be stored in the body as excess fats and can be harmful to our body. Banks are like cells. Glucose molecules have to be processed in the cells and undergo cellular respiration in order to get the energy currency of the body, which is the ATP or adenosine triphosphate, which then be used for important cellular activities our body needs to keep going.
I guess you are now equipped with the information in understanding ATP as well as the process of cellular respiration. But let us not just stop there. Let's have another activity to deepen your understanding on the lesson. In the next activity, we are going to really understand why the mitochondrion is known as the powerhouse of the cells. Come, let's explore the energy factory. The diagram shows what's happening inside the energy factory inside the cell. The product produced in this factory is ATP, adenosine triphosphate, or energy. Let's study the diagram to see how majority of the chemical energy is converted inside the mitochondrion and see how it functions just like a factory. A total of 4 ATPs from 2 phases are just a very small amount of energy compared to the energy harnessed from the sun. There's more to it carried by the high energy electron carriers. Let's go see how the ATPs are being harvested inside the energy factory. The last phase of cellular respiration happens in the inner mitochondrial membrane. The process is known as the electron transport chain. In this phase, all of the high-energy electron carrier molecules, FADH2 and NADH, will pass through series of protein complexes, namely protein complex 1, 2, 3, and 4, respectively. This membrane is semi-permeable. It means there are only limited molecules that can pass through this membrane. That constitutes the high concentration of photons in the intermembrane space than in the matrix. At the end of the protein complexes is a large protein complex known as ATP synthase. The ATP synthase acts as a turbine. The oxygen that we breathe serves as the final receptor of the electrons that allows the flow of photons that drives the synthase to spin, allowing the conversion of energy to ATP, resulting to the production of water molecules with the oxygen molecule interacting with the protons. Without the oxygen, the process would stop, which causes the synthase to stop spinning, and the conversion of energy as well will halt. The conversion of ATP in the electron transport chain is a way more efficient than in the glycolysis and Krebs cycle. A total of 32 ATPs is unleashed in the last phase. Isn't the process amazing and perfect? As you dig down the complication of this process when you go to college, you would be able to appreciate your body and the amazing things that happens even in the molecular level. It will make you realize how amazing the Creator is. One of the end products of cellular respiration is water. Now, in this activity, let's summarize what we have learned and apply our understanding in analyzing some changes in our body. Exercising is one of the many activities most of us would like to do, but is really a struggle to pursue. How does the body benefit from exercising? And what does it have to do with cellular respiration? Let's take a look at the energy factory diagram once again. Now, let's begin. I want you to jog in place for 10 times. Then, let's observe what happens. Are you ready? Jog in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, as we answer the guide questions, let's observe what's happening and refer to the last part of the electron transport chain reaction. 1. Is oxygen important? 1. Yes. 2. What happens to your heart rate when you exercise extensively? 2. Increase. 3. With your answer in number 2, what happens to the flow of blood in the bloodstream? 3. Increase. 4. What do blood cells carry from the lungs to the parts of the body? 4. Oxygen. 5. What have you noticed with your breathing during exercise? 5. Heavy. 6. What comes out from your skin pores all over the body after you exercise extensively? 6. Water or sweat. 7. Take a look at the product that come in and out from the mitochondrion at the end part of the electron transport chain. Is your answer in number 6 correct? Seven, yes. 8. Is exercising essential? 8, yes. Now, let's assess if you really have deeply comprehended the lesson we have discussed today. Directions. Write the letter of your answer. 1. What process does glucose molecule undergo reduction to acetyl-CoA? A. Citric acid cycle. B. Digestion. C. Electron transport chain. D. Glycolysis. Two. In cellular respiration, what is the primary molecule involved in the process? A. Fats. B. Glucose. C. Oxygen. D. Water. Three. What does ATP stand for? A. Adrenaline triphosphate. B. Adenosine triglyceride. C. Adenosine triphosphate. D. Adenosine triphosphate. 4. How many ATP is produced during the electron transport chain? A. 1 ATP. B. 2 ATPs. C. 3 ATPs. D. 32 ATPs. Five. Which of the following molecules carries high energy electron? A. Acetyl. B. FADH2. C. Oxalate. D. Pyruvate. Check your answers flashed on the screen. 1. A. 2. B. 3. C. 4. D. 5. B. You know what? With the discussion today, I just realized I may have loved myself a lot by doing the things I love. Unfortunately, exercising is not one of them. When I look at myself in the mirror, oh well, those are a bunch of unprocessed carbohydrates and my cells are not working enough. So yes, you'll see a sexier version of me in the next episodes. What about you? What are your realizations with our lesson for today? I hope that you have learned something today that you can apply in your daily activities and help you manage your lives better. Thank you for watching, and remember, if you want to change the world, be the change you want the world to see. Keep discovering and continue learning. For our next episode, we will discuss more of the subatomic particles, which tackles electronic structure of matter. This has been your virtual teacher Noemi. See you again in the next episode of Puerto Princesa Dream TV.